I can't hear you still. I can just see your lips moving, but I can't hear anything. No, still I can't hear. Nothing. No, I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Google Analytics and why it's important for marketing and social media. Anything we do in marketing needs to be measured. Marketing is fairly expensive because to get every new user, you have to put the advertisement in front of many eyes because of something that's called a funnel. And a funnel is basically a way that somebody on the web or anywhere in the world is converted to a paying customer. And the usual web sequence is for somebody to see an advertisement or hear about a product from their friend, then go to either a link on the internet where that product can be sold, or call in possibly some sort of a number where they can buy a service or product. Then they may actually come to the same link or call several times, make a final decision to buy, give their credit card information, and purchase the product. So that's basically the funnel. That's what we call the funnel. Now, when we put together an advertisement on social media or some sort of a post on social media, we can have different types of goals. We can have actually two types of goals. The first goal is just raising awareness and spreading the word. The main reason for that, we're setting that sort of goal, is to be able to basically to raise the amount of likes and to raise the amount of engagement on the post. So as you can see on this Facebook page of LDN Science, there are certain posts that are very popular. For example, let's scroll down. Okay, so certain posts here could be seen as shared 20 times or more. So for example, this post was shared 42 times. Some of it was shared by us as social media managers, and some of it was shared actually by the people who saw the post. So the second type of goal that we can have is actually conversion to customers that consume some sort of a product or a service. So we want them to go to the website. So if I click on this post, we're going to the website, to some sort of a landing page on the website. And in this case, it's a post about a woman who overcame a disease through a drug. And then this post can lead to this customer doing what's called a CTA, click to action. What is a click to action? In this particular website, the click to action was set as a button that somebody is most likely to click on. So for example, on this page, I can do several things. I can go to the home page. I can also click on donate, which is the most obvious button here. Okay, so there are several other posts which I will show you where click to action is something else. So for example, when we go to this post, when we go to this post, you can see that there is fairly high up on the page, there is a click to action about consulting a physician. So this click to action was identified by the customer as their most important goal on the page. So in this case, our funnel will be going through a social media post, which can be viewed on different groups on social media, as well as advertisements on Facebook. And then the customer has several choices, either to share or to like or love or comment on the post, or they can click on the post because they're actually interested in reading it and arriving to the info page. And then from the info page, they click on the call to action, which in this case, the most prominent call to action is actually this one, looking for a physician to consult about LDN. You can see that actually in the bottom of the page, if anybody ever goes to the bottom, there are 3 additional calls to action here, okay, that somebody may be willing to click. There's also another one here up on top, the donate button, and there's many other pages here, but the most prominent one that we're shooting for is this one. So how's that relevant to Google Analytics? So Google Analytics is this software that shows us the visits to the page, the results of campaigns, and basically results of campaigns by different channels, such as social media or advertisement, and as well as who our audience for this page is, and so on. So I'll show you what the most important parts of Google Analytics are and how I actually use Google Analytics. So I'll give you a quick overview. Okay, there is a hand raised. Right, just a second. Questions? I guess maybe that was old. Do you hear me okay? Do you see me okay? Everything's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So this is basically how many times the page is viewed, how many unique users arrive. Users are basically people who arrive to the page. There's some people who arrive to the page repeatedly. So for the most important thing here is, first of all, is to set a period. So here you have Jennifer. Have I shared Google Analytics account with you? One of them, or not yet?
What? I can't drop it. What is it?
Have I shared with you ever before an analytics account for one of the pages? Not yet.
No.
Okay, so I will do that. I'll share a personal page with you later on today, so you can actually practice. Share. I'll share the Digimark account.
Okay.
Okay, great. So let's look at the LDN page. Let's look at a month. A month out of a year, let's say it will be 15th of February until 15th of March. That's just 1 month. So what happened during that month? So you can see here that the arrivals to the web page are uneven. Some of this may be due to the cyclicality of the week, because more people arrive on, you can see like more people arrive on certain days and weekdays versus the weekend, and it happens with certain services, let's say for students. We can clearly see on Scholarship Owl, and I'll show it to you later, how there's certain drops in the audience. In this case though, most of the time, the reason why there is an increase is because there was an advertisement or there was a mailing. We haven't done mailing for them, but they send out a mailing to their clients about once a month. So I'm assuming it was either this one or this one, and they have about 1,000 people on their mailing list. So it's probably one of these. So you can see here, what you can see here is basically the amount of sessions that happen during each particular day. So on this day, for instance, Wednesday, February 15th, there were 429 sessions. Now, a session means basically one person coming to the website one time. So if I visited the website several times today, it's if there's different sessions from me on the same day from the same IP address from the same computer, it will not actually record me twice. Okay, so basically what we got is 429 people visiting this page on that day. And then you can see that on the next day it was 626 people. So what we're interested in is why on the peaks on February 22nd or February 28th or March 12th, why there's so many sessions. Because if we see that on a specific day there are more sessions than others, then we're interested in what we did so well. On the other hand, we can look at the days that were really low. In this case, it was okay. Actually, it wasn't so bad. Another thing that I like, and what you can see here is that overall it seems like the trend is going up. And we can select, let's say, not 1 month, but we can look at a year. Let's say February 15th in 2006. Or maybe it was March 15th. Let's see, February 15th to March 15th. No, March 15th to March 15th. March 15th, 2016 to March 15th, 2017. And let's see what happened. Okay, so you can see here clearly that the trend overall is going up. And you can see that since we started working on their social media, which was January 2016, it's going up steadily. Now here you can see they did some sort of an advertisement, so it went up, and it went down, went up, it went down, and ever since, let's say October, it's going up steadily, and it's going up much higher in the latest month. Okay, so I'm going up to seeing a month. Oh, actually this is even better. You can see on the frequency of a month, you can see how visits to the website have changed. Now the last one is basically we're now only in the middle of the month. Alright, so I'm going back to February 15th to March 15th, apply. Okay, so, and we want to see a daily resolution. Now, still, this is not used, I don't use this on a daily basis. I'm just running through it with you as an introduction to Google Analytics. And I'll show you what I actually do daily. Okay, so basically we have here sessions and users. Why is this different? Because users can come to the website multiple times. What does page views mean? It means that a user could go to visit 5 pages in every single session. So that's what we see here. On average, a user visits about 3 pages. A new visitor versus returning visitor. So green, about a quarter of the people who visit the page visit it several times. And new visitors is about 3/4. Why is this important? Well, we may set a goal that we want to bring a lot of new customers this month, or maybe we want to bring returning customers if we see that they are more likely to click on our call to action. So again, on this website, the call to action is finding a doctor, and on the other website, it could be buying a bag or making a phone call to buy or something like that, or maybe going to a different website. Sometimes there's a landing page and call to action is going to a different website. Okay, so you can look at the country and the demographics and then the languages. You can see that English is predominant, and that's what we want to see, because the call to action is related to actually finding American doctors. So we don't want to say advertise in India because it doesn't help us. So that's why we're interested in getting mainly English-speaking users and customers in the United States. You can see here there's some US. Canada is also okay. United Kingdom for this specific website is not very relevant. So we're going to try to get as many of US customers as possible. So that there you have browser, operating system, but for us it's not important. If we did have a mobile app, for example, that we were marketing, then it's very important for us to actually look at all these stats. So there's several other notable things here that I don't usually use on a daily basis. So what I'm going to just show you is why we're doing these UTM tags and campaigns. Okay, here's another thing that I do use pretty frequently. It's behavior flow, and the reason why we would use that is to actually look at the website critically from the point of view of user experience. If our most important page is to find a doctor, as you see here, this is the page that we want to bring people to, then we want to know how people get there. What's the most efficient way for them to get here? And that's what we want to strive for. So let's say this is how many people get there on the first click. Well, I'm highlighting traffic through this, and most of the people go through landing pages that are not a home page. So you have all kinds of pages here, and I'll highlight soon what happens when they go to the home page. Let's see, group details. So what is this group? This group is research, patient stories, and find a doctor. So let's look at the research page. LDN science/research. So this is the page from which most of the people end up at the Find a Doctor page. So they do research. They look through research. They look for different information, and it's likely doctors who are doing this. And then from here, they end up going to Find a Doctor. Interesting, because I don't see necessarily a click to action on that page. So let's look. Let's look at the actual research. All right, and then let's look if there is a call to action somewhere in the bottom. All right. This is a group that goes into Find a Doctor. That's really interesting. Group details, patient stories, sessions, outgoing. Okay. So apparently people make their way from here to Find a Doctor next. Okay. So let's look here. Maybe on this one. This is on the third click, they go into Find a Doctor. So they go into a home page, and then they may go into all of these other pages, patient stories, and then they end up in Find a Doctor. Okay, so this is the behavior flow, and we'll go through it again. I don't think I made it so clear, actually. I'll try to see on another website how it can be more clear. So the most important thing that we're looking for is actually conversions and campaigns. So this is what we've been, as social media marketers, this is something that we've been working on really hard. So this is our Facebook page, and all of these, we make them into campaigns. We add these UTM links. So what is a UTM link? UTM link is a tool by Google Analytics that allows us to actually follow the campaigns and through entering these UTM links in each URL that we're adding on social media. So, for example, in this post, basically the regular URL looks like this. And what we did, we added an ending, and it's still the same URL, but now Google Analytics actually can track this post and give us information. So what happens when it tracks this post? So there are several components to a UTM link. So let's see. Let's say this is a link, the actual link. I lost it. Let's close this page. Yeah, here it is. Here we go. This is the actual link. And then the campaign source is normally a post. It could be also an ad. Usually there are posts or ads or mailing campaigns. These are the sources of the campaign. Campaign medium is Facebook. And then we add a campaign name that is pretty much the compilation of all of them so that we can easily find it in the campaigns. So it's Facebook post, and let's say it was done on March 15, 2017. So then Google AdWords tool comes up with this link. What we see here is the UTM source, post, UTM campaign, and UTM medium, which is Facebook. So how do we actually use this here? So I like to look at the campaigns. This is my go-to metric. So let's look at the campaigns that are done here. And what is the most effective campaign? Well, the first campaign that we see here with lots of sessions is this one. And actually, that's a Google ad. It's a Google ad that they do. And I'm not aware of the cost for their Google ads, but I would assume it would be somewhere from 10 to 20 cents US cents per visitor. So we're seeing here that this campaign in this specific month brought us 1,294 sessions, out of which 87 were new users, 87%. Bounce rate, look at the bounce rate. The bounce rate shows you how many people came on the page and didn't do anything. They closed it up. And usually a bounce rate is very high for ads, and it's much lower for social media. So also a bounce rate can tell you how good or how bad the ad is. In this specific instance, or in general, Google ads and Facebook ads, you have about 90% bounce rate. This one, 82% bounce rate, is actually pretty good for an ad. Next one is pages per session. Pages per session, we have 1.5, which means that most people who don't bounce actually go to the next page. I don't know whether the next page is find a doctor. So how do we actually find out? So by the way, average session duration is 51 seconds, which is actually pretty good for an ad. And somebody is staying for almost a minute on average on the page. Now, the most important metric here is conversion. And this is something that we set up as marketers, or the company sets up, and there's different goals that you can look at. Buy LDN goal is basically when somebody goes and clicks on a button to buy LDN. The goal that we're concerned with at the moment is find a doctor. That's what we as a consultant were asked to do. It's very important to ask the customer what type of goal they're expecting for us to do. It's critically important, and then we advise them on the click to action. We advise them to add certain buttons and certain posts before we post them. So here, for example, what we're seeing in total conversions, that's all of the campaigns that were done this month. There were 7,000 sessions, out of which about 77% bounced. It's actually not a bad bounce rate, considering a lot of these were ads. Session duration was over a minute. over 14%, over 13%, almost 14% of people who visited the campaigns got somehow to find a doctor. Now, it might be a little skewed because one of these campaigns actually sent people to find a doctor to that page. So they fulfilled this goal just by going to that page. Goal conversion rate completion. So there's almost 1,000 people who clicked on that page. And then we have this value estimate here, which wasn't filled out and it wasn't set. That's why it's 0. So let's see. There's this page. This first 3 are Google Ads results. Now the next one, which is very interesting, is this post by I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name, but you know this post. It's a post about a doctor. And an interesting thing here is that on this post, the call to action was not fixed. It was all the way in the bottom, and people still clicked on it. There was 7% conversion rate, which is really good conversion rate for a page where the call to action is all the way in the bottom. So we got 40 people out of this number that filled out that clicked on the call to action without us actually placing it all the way up on top. And that was basically my mistake in this case. I should have informed the customer to put it up on top as I usually do, but for this one I forgot, but we still got a pretty good conversion. The next one is an email app update. Usually email lists are very, very targeted lists of potential customers or current customers. It was collected either through advertisement or through years of collecting potential and current customers. So this year they sent out a mailing on the 28th of February, and on that day, 432 people out of 1,000 who they sent the email to, which actually is a really good click-through rate and a really good open rate for an email. I think what happened with this specific mailing was that they sent it to about 1,200 people. About 700 people opened it, which is really, really high for an email list, and about half of them clicked. So, do you have any questions so far? I might be going too fast.
No.
No? All right.
No.
All right, great. So then what we see here is about a half of them were new sessions, which is also really interesting and really insightful, because I guess they got new users on that list. All right, so 67% bounced, which means that people just visited that page, didn't go anywhere. But 97% went to find a doctor. Why? Well, actually, this specific post was about new doctors. So actually, most of them went to the doctor page. So the next one is this one. They did an update about this woman named Sue who had a hearing problem. So in this update, slightly less people opened it, but most people visited at least 2 pages, and they stayed for 3 minutes on this post. And we are trying to get people to stay as long as they can on the website. So, and look at the difference. In the previous one, they stayed only for 1 minute. In this one, they stayed for 3. So this means that this specific mailing was much more successful. Now let's look at the conversion rate, which was 11%. It was really good. They clicked from this post. 42 people clicked and went to find a doctor. Okay, LDN General and LDN General optimized for conversions, again, are Google Ads. Leonard Weinstock is a post that we did, and again, I did not have time to deal with a click to action. It probably shouldn't happen again. We should always advise the client to deal with that. And you can see what happened because of that. There was 0 conversions on this post. And people stayed on this post for only 40 seconds, which means several things. and they only visited one page, and the bounce rate was really high. So what happened with this post is that we boosted it, and we boosted it to the audience, which was, I think, Crohn's disease. It wasn't the LDN audience, usual audience. So a lot of people, well, not a lot, about 290 people visited the post, or clicked on the post. They didn't see maybe something that was super interesting to them. They didn't see, it wasn't really focused on the Crohn's disease. And that's something that we learn. We learn a lot from this experience. We learn whether our approach is right. We learn if the strategy is right. And we learn here that the strategy was not good. We learned that people coming from a specific audience, Crohn's disease, when they see a lot of text that may be slightly related to what they're interested in, they don't bother. They don't convert. They don't click. They don't see the whole post. So the conclusion is that we should never do this again. Now, my recommendation to this client, as my recommendation to all of the clients, would be to have a blog. Because on a blog, you can make a post that is specifically geared to just one thing, highly focused. Let's say a blog is about solutions to the Crohn's disease, and whoever comes to that post is likely, and if it's written well, is likely to share it and is likely to click on whatever you want them to click on, and is likely to stay on the page. And the longer they stay on the page, the more likely they're to click on what they're supposed to. Okay, so the next one again is a Google ad. So let's go to the next page. So far we saw 2 posts that we did. And actually I'm going to show you the posts if I can. The first one was the Gutorm Rakness post, a doctor post. Let's find it. Where is it? And we did some, yeah, maybe a little while before. And then we did, my approach is to do first organic distribution, because there's actually a big trick to Facebook showing ads or showing posts to users. There are 4 factors in Facebook's algorithm that are really important to consider. One is the timing of the post, which means the faster we distribute it and the faster we share it, the more likely Facebook is to show it to users, because they want to show the most relevant. Here he is, a cute guy. The most relevant and the most timely posts. The second is users' interaction. So the most users interact with this post, comment or like anywhere on social media. It doesn't have to be on our page. So what we do is we post something on the page, and then we go and share it with different groups in which we're in. Why do we share to groups? You might want to ask. We share to groups because the post, first of all, of course, we want people to click. Okay, so we share the post, and then they will click, they will convert. That's first goal. The secondary goal is, because Facebook's algorithm is programmed that way, that the more people click, comment, and share, then the more it actually appears on other people's feeds, because they know that the post is interesting. So that's why we prepare this turf for each post. We share it to different groups. And then we also boost it. Boosting means, well, this one wasn't boosted. Boosting means that we can advertise it. And it's automatic advertisement with automatic Facebook setting, focused on on the goal of increasing engagement. So remember, in the beginning of this webinar, I mentioned that there's 2 primary goals on Facebook. There's several, but 2 primary. One is engagement, and the second is conversion. Conversion meaning somebody is clicking on the post, going to a website. So boosting a post on Facebook is automatically geared towards engagement, meaning people will share the post more. They may comment and like, but they will first of all share. So this is the Gutorm post that we did and shared it to a bunch of groups related to can't remember what it was related to, but probably LDN and maybe a few other things that he spoke about in the article. The second post we talked about today was Dr. Weinstock, which is this post, and it was geared clearly towards patients of Crohn's disease. And we discovered that it was not a great approach, and we probably will not continue with this strategy. Okay, so that's why in general we should do testing for every single strategy that we have. And this strategy of taking an existing post, because the client was averse to creating new posts, they wanted to first exhaust all the content that they have on their website, which went against my advice, because from my experience, you should spend time and create a blog post that is extremely focused, extremely geared to just one subject, and then just share and boost that post to that specific audience. So that's my recommendation for the future. So we
Actually,
learned
I have a question.
Yes.
In this Wingstock post, we can see some 5,000 people. It reached to some 5,000 people, right?
Right.
But still, you say the strategy is wrong. Why is that?
Okay, so reaching is nice, which means we shared it a lot, and they actually may have. So let's actually look at the results of the boost. I think the boost was like $25 or something like that. So you can reach a lot of people with increasing the budget for the ad. So it doesn't actually mean that the post was great and very popular. The amount of the reach depends on two factors: how many groups you share it to, and how much money you put in. So in general, if you that's my kid who woke up. So in general, what happens when we don't share the post is, let's say we just share the post on our Facebook page and that's it. We didn't do anything with it. We didn't share it to groups. We didn't boost it. So what happens? In general, according to statistics, only 6% of your audience will actually see it. No more than 6%. And who is your audience? Are the people who liked it. So who liked the page. So the people who like the page are exposed from time to time to your posts. And according to statistics, only 6% see the post. So for example, this page has 1,200 likes. So we, on average, if we don't share it, we'll get 6%, which is about 80 people. Okay, so 80 people will be exposed. Statistically, from 80 people, you probably are going to get somewhere from 3 to 4 likes. Okay, now there is a trick on Facebook, and I'll do another webinar on Facebook specifically, but there is a trick on Facebook that allows us to target the posts. Actually, let me go over that. Okay, let's see. So we're digressing, but it's okay. So here's it. Let's say I am writing a post. Come on. Okay. I am writing a post about MS. The computer does not want to comply. Okay, so we're writing a post about MS. So let's say MS finally has a solution. We can target it by let's see, how can we actually do that? How we are doing? No, we usually can target, but I can't see right now how the targeting is done. So they changed something with their algorithm. Okay, so I'm going to prepare that for the next time. Normally, I am able to target a post to a specific audience. So I'll see how it's done next time. So when we target it to a specific audience, we're likely to get out of people who like this page, we're likely to get more people who are interested in that specific factor. So we can target it towards MS. So I'll figure out how we can do it for next time. Okay, so back to the Crohn's post. Okay, here we are. So let's view the results. All right. So what happened here was our organic distribution was actually pretty good. We got over 5,000 people in total to see this post, and only 1,500 was from the ad, which means that we reached about 4,000 people with our own efforts, which was great. It seems like it's great, but it's not so great. And we'll find out why in a minute. So in terms of their ad, was it a good ad or not? So we look at first of all, we look at the price. The price was $15, and the people reached was 1,500, which means that they spent about 10 cents per person who reached this ad. Now, this ad was not optimized for conversions. It was not optimized for link clicks. See, link clicks, there are only 52 clicks. So if we divide $15 to 52 clicks, a click actually cost them about 30 cents, which still is not so bad. It's still a pretty good price for a click. In general, for certain audiences, a click can go as high as $1 or maybe $3, and it actually usually, if you're targeting a business audience, it will be higher. Some audiences can be as low as 5 or 10, and we'll go over Facebook ads at some point and see what happens. So in general, on the paper, it looks like it was a good post. Now, how do we know it was not a good post? Well, first of all, sometimes it's not your fault. Like, the page is really bad. Like, for example, this one didn't have a call to action. It was my fault because I did not encourage the client to add the call to action. So, but why we also know that it's not a good post? Where was it? Okay. Let's see. It wasn't on the first page. Okay, so what we see here, first of all, it's a 0 conversion. And we see people only visited it for 40 seconds, which is pretty low for this website. And the bounce rate was 88%, meaning that they expected something. When they got to the page, they got something else, and they closed it out. Okay? Or they stayed there for 40 seconds, did not find what they wanted, they closed it out. They did not get to the end of the post because that's where the click to action was, and they closed it out. So we learned that a few things here. We learned that the audience was likely not targeted well for this page. Okay, so that's why we need these campaigns. All right, so next, let's go and review actually some good posts that we did. Some smart posts with higher conversions, and to learn what we did well so that we can do it again. All right, so the next one is Vivian, who had I can't remember, either fibromyalgia. So only 250 people came. I don't know if the post was boosted at all, but we see that the bounce rate was 84%. The visits to the page was 31. And yet there was 31 seconds, and yet there were 17 conversions, which is great. Somebody was on the page for just half a minute. During that half a minute, 7% of the people clicked on finding a doctor, which means it's fantastic. We do want them to stay longer on the page. So when we optimize, we do want to make the content so engaging that they actually scroll down and they read the whole thing. In this case, we don't have control over the content. So we choose the pages that are, so from now on, we will be choosing the pages that have the best result. Okay, so this one was not a really good UTM link. I think I did this one. And because we don't know what this Facebook post was on the 8th of February, I mean, we can probably scroll down and find out which one it was. Okay, this one is February 9th. This one is February 8th. Okay, so that was Lucas. That was Kelly. Okay. So let's see what happened with Kelly. Kelly had a bounce rate, which was okay. People stayed on her page, which can mean several things. It doesn't necessarily mean that the page is amazing and the content is amazing, but it may mean that the audience was better. Sometimes several different audiences are more likely to read. Let's say Vivian was fibromyalgia, and maybe people there are like fed up or jaded with information. And lupus, maybe these people are more curious. We don't know. And we will know when we make several posts of these so that we can gather the statistics. But you somehow get like this intuition or this feeling over what happened. So let's look and see. Actually, the conversion was actually pretty low. Conversion was low. It was only 3%. So I'm not sure if, let's see if we had the right click to action on this post. If the click to action was high enough. So in this way, so the click to action was actually pretty high. Looking for a physician specializing in LDN, find one in your area. So they actually had a chance to click on this, and they didn't. Which may mean that the way the post was written was not necessarily. Let's look here, for example, we did not mention LDN up on top. Let's look at Vivian and see what we did there. Maybe when we encouraged people to click on that page, on the post, we actually mentioned the LDN. So maybe they were much more likely to click on that post. So let's look at what we did with Vivian. Vivian, look, that all changed after she discovered LDN. So maybe an indication that we should be adding something about LDN all the way up on top. So this sort of an understanding in general, what should be posted, how it should be posted, in which language it should be posted, only arrives after about 2 or 3 months of the 2 or 3 months of social media work. It does take a while to figure out all these details. Okay, so my cat should stop meowing. Okay, so maybe I can go back home now, and because it's rather cold. Okay, so let's see what other posts we have left here. Okay. Okay, Wendy multiple sclerosis. I look first of all at this metric of the conversion rate, which is 3%. It's not very high, as you can see. Then this one, the Find a Doctor one, obviously was sent directly to the page of Find a Doctor, so it had the highest conversion rate. Bipolar Lisa had a pretty low conversion rate. But this one, look, there was a post, March 15th, about MS, and it had 10% conversion rate, even though it had very few visitors. What can this mean? This probably means that the post was not boosted, and it was organically only organically marketed. So we can learn from this that most likely organic marketing brings us much higher conversion rate. Obviously, this needs to be tested with several other pages. I recommended this client not to boost posts. There are two different ways to advertise on Facebook. One is to do something that's kind of a lazy trick, which is when you have a post here and you don't spend time on actually properly doing an ad and letting Facebook make all the decisions for you. I'll show you in the later stage how the ad is actually being created, and you actually have to make a lot of decisions on what your goal is, which targeting to use, how much money you're willing to spend per user. You don't want to make any of these decisions because you either don't know or you're lazy, so you just boost a post. And then it's automatically targeted towards engagement. So in this case, when you boost it, and you're probably getting lower conversions. So what I recommend and the customer is actually not to boost it and to do the ads instead. Because also when you boost it, then we can't understand if what is the difference between our organic distribution. And organic means anything except ads. Just means going through groups or sending it to friends or whatever. So that's organic distribution. So this post for MS only had 60 people. It's possible that we did not do a great job sharing it to groups even. But people were here for only half a minute, and 1 out of 10 clicked on the click to action on the bottom which wanted to click. Whatever this post was, it didn't have such a great conversion, and then you can see all the other posts that we did that we did not advertise. Now this one, the specific one, this was an email update. This post was actually very, very popular, but it was done on February 6th, and okay, so hold on 1 second. Okay, so this is basically regarding the campaigns. Was there anything unclear you want to clarify?
No, I can understand.
I don't even need these really. Okay, so all right, so this is the campaigns. There are several other small things that we want to maybe look at, and usually these are concerned with the questions that were being asked by the customer. Let's say what we're mainly interested is the landing pages, which are found under the social tab. And the landing pages are basically the pages in which people land. That's what the meaning of the landing page. And we want to know that because we want to know, landing page is actually the page which visitor visits first. They visit it first, and then they go to other pages. And they can visit it first because they either received an email about it, or they saw an ad that goes straight to that page, or there may be a link from some other website. So this is also a very important factor for marketing, is to have, and for SEO is search engine optimization, we'll go over that at some point, is to have links from other websites to link to our website. And that's why we do PR and communications, to spread the word, to have bloggers and people with websites, maybe doctors who have a website, to link back to our page. Now, the most important factor for asking somebody to do that is how popular their website actually is. If I have a website that I have 5 visitors a day, and I put a link to LDN, it's not going to make such a big impact. But if a doctor who has thousands of people visiting his page puts a link to LDN, it's going to make a big impact. And also that doctor will probably put a specific page, not a home page. So he may have put, let's say, this interview. Let's say this Phil Boyle, a doctor, may put a link to this interview from his page. And that's why we have 69 visitors to that landing page. Here. So when we know what are the top landing pages, we can act accordingly. What do we need to do? We need to make sure that these pages are most optimized for click to action, that the button that we want people to, or a link that we want people to click is visible and up on top. So on these top pages, okay? So that's the meaning behind the landing page. So now I want to look at the acquisition. I want to find where we have the link backs. I can't remember. Traffic sources. That's the one. Traffic sources. No, actually this is real time. By accident I came into the real time, and real time means how many people are on the website right now, which is really fun. Right now I am the only one seem to be on the website. And we can actually put this according to countries. Let's say exclude Israel, so then or just the US. So I don't usually use this. This is the only reason why you use this is like when you build a website or when you just start out. I'm not really interested in real time so much, but I want to find traffic sources, acquisition channels. Okay, so this is probably that. Referrals actually. So before we go there, let me show you why we're doing source and medium on the UTM links. So remember, we usually put FB for Facebook and post for a medium. So this is it. This is what we've been doing. We've been doing FB, and there's some that say post FB, and I don't know if it was a mistake on our part. And let's look at the conversions. The goals and the conversions. So for FB post, we got it for all of our Facebook effort. We had 1,576 people visiting. The bounce rate was 81%. The conversion rate overall in total was 5% and 81 people. So it's not great. I would say at this point it's not fantastic, but it's not so bad for the first 2 months of activity. Like we now are getting smarter and we know what to do. So this one, Facebook referral, what is that? That means that some people actually write to their friends, or they are sharing the post to their friends, and from there you can see the conversion rate is much higher, which basically tells us that people are much more likely to go and do what their friends are telling them to do. What has the highest conversion here? Google Organic. What does that mean, organic? Again, organic means anything except for ads, which means because this website has been up for already 2 years, it's now popular and has certain keywords that are associated with the website, meaning that if I search for LDN research, for instance, which is one of the top keywords for this website comes up. So when I go into this website, I have a pretty high chance, 1/4, that I'm going to click on Find a Doctor, which is fantastic. Organic. CPC means cost per click, and that's Google Ads. And here we also have a pretty fantastic conversion rate. Although, as I said, some of this was actually people. Some of this was directed to that page, Find a Doctor, which is probably a more expensive ad. Direct means somebody input the name LDN Science into their search, into the browser bar. Facebook posts we discussed, emails have a huge conversion rate, but only 50% of these people are new customers. So it's likely that they're just there to see if any new doctors arrive, but they're not necessarily patients that go to visit the doctor. Facebook referral has 10%. From mobile, what does it mean? Facebook.com? It means it's traffic from a mobile device. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, conversion rates, 60%. This is great. This is a perfect example why linkbacks is somebody is linking to your website, are so hugely important. So this is actually Dr. Mercola who put a link to our website. We got 53 people, which is not a huge amount from that page, but 60% of them clicked on Find a Doctor, and they stayed for 5 minutes, which basically tells us that, as predicted and as normal for almost any other website, when we find a highly visited website, we want to put our link on it. We want to ask them to put our link on it. Now here, his link back wasn't on his landing page even. It's in some pages buried somewhere, and we're still getting 53 people every month. So this is another link back, which is really interesting. 40 people came. 76 of them clicked, and they stayed for 3 minutes. So this is like a really, really important thing to know. So let's just look at referrals for now, and that will be the last thing, because it's becoming a very, very long webinar. So referrals here, as we see, referrals is basically when somebody shares the link with their friends. And you can see from mobile and Facebook, we get a lot. We get 300 people with a conversion rate which is not so bad for Facebook, 11%. And they stay for 1 minute. On Google, people are sharing, I guess, in Google Plus and other places. After they see it, and the conversion rate this year is pretty much 100%. So I think what they're actually referring here is the ad. Yeah. This is a list, email list, and the conversion rate is 21, which is okay, I guess. I'm not sure what this one is. Probably an ad that appears on Android devices. LDN Doctor is actually their own website. Again, Mercola is a link. So then here's where we want to look at the links that work really well. So that's the one. That's the second one. And I think there's also a third one that's pretty popular. Okay, so here's another one. Stop Thyroid Madness. Crohn's Forum, when somebody posted our link on the forum, which also could be a good strategy. Fed up with fatigue, and so on. So it seems like for this company, one of the most important strategies is actually to look for linkbacks and ask for more linkbacks at this point. So that's pretty much all that I would really use Google Analytics for in this level, on a basic level. What I covered today is probably just about 10 to 20% of what you can get out of Google Analytics. There's much more to learn and to do. It's not normally used. I guess we would use it only if we do ads, and if we do them really on a consistent basis. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions for this one?
No, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. So let me see, because I think it's also really late for you. So I'm going to stop the recording. Hope that